This is Into the Deep with Catherine Just, a podcast devoted to the evolution of consciousness, connection, and inspired creative expression.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a micro show of the Into the Deep podcast. I'm so glad you're here. So today I want to talk about how we give our power away and our energy away to other people, places, things, and situations, and think that what's happening outside of us means something about who we are. So I'm going to go to a very simple way to describe this to you that I learned from my Toltec teachers many, many moons ago. Imagine you're on the freeway and somebody cuts you off. I'm curious if you can go back to maybe the last time that happened, because it's happened to all of us, what you thought of that person, what you thought you needed to say to that person, what you might have yelled at them from your car to that person, having maybe never even seen them. I'm sure that all of us, including myself, have yelled at them, maybe flipped them off, maybe sped up to get right behind them and make them uncomfortable for what they did to us, go around them and cut them off, retaliate, make them pay for what they did. And in the meantime, we have just expended so much energy at this person because we think they did something to us on purpose. They don't know who we are. They might not have even seen your face. They don't know you personally, that's for sure. You are just a person that happened to be driving in the wrong spot. I don't mean wrong, but what I mean is you just happen to be there and this person is driving this way. And it tells us a lot when we can reflect on this activity of our own, how much we're taking things personally. And if we need to. That's the next question. Do we need to take it personally what anybody's doing on the freeway? Do I need to take it personally that I can hear the FedEx man backing up right now while I'm trying to record a podcast? It has nothing to do with them or me. It's just, it's happening. Who cares? I don't have to get bent out of shape. It's just happening. But I think that we all think that we know how things should go in our lives. And when other people show up acting a way that we think they should not be behaving, the key word is should. We suffer a lot for that belief that we have. Let's go back to the freeway a minute and just think about the fact that we don't actually know why that happened. We think that they're being assholes on purpose and just being reckless because that's who they are, when there could be all sorts of reasons why they're driving that way and maybe didn't see you. Maybe they did. We don't know why they didn't signal or put on their signal. We don't know anything about the situation and we can't ask them directly. But what if they're trying to get to the hospital because their wife is in the back seat having their baby and it is an emergency, or they themselves need to get to the hospital because something happened to them, or there's an emergency in their family. They need to pick up their child at school because the principal called because they fell off their swing and broke their arm and they need to go to the hospital. They keep bringing up the hospital, but we don't know. Maybe that person lost their job and they are freaking the F out. I don't know why I just held back on saying that word, but they're freaking the fuck out and they're raging on the freeway because they just lost their job and that money was so important to giving their family what they need. And maybe that person has a wife who just had a baby and they just found out that they lost their job. What do we know? We know nothing except that we take it personally and then we waste our own energy. We leak energy that could have been used to just send them love, back up, give them space, and maybe make the assumption that they're in an emergency and how can we be of service? And of course, it could be true that person is just being a jerk and full of ego and pride and thinks that the road belongs to them. We don't know that either, but who cares? We can just reserve our energy, back up, give space, change lanes, slow down, and keep moving toward the direction of what it is that we're doing with our lives and not take it personally. When we take something personally like that, we're giving our energy away, we're giving our attention away, and it's really a power move to notice what people are doing around you on the freeway and just adjusting. If somebody gets up behind your car because they're in a hurry and they want you to move because you're moving too slow for them, what if you just change lanes, let them go, wish them well? It scares me personally when people are butting up behind my car like that. It scares me. And I do just get out of the way. And in the past, I have been ragey back. And a lot of that's coming from fear. Underneath my rage at the people on the freeway is fear because I don't want to get in a car accident. So, how can we take our energy back when we're sort of in a pattern of this knee jerk reaction to other people, places, and things, not just on the freeway, but in our everyday life, in the grocery store, in the parking lot at Costco? Not that I have any experience with that. A long time ago, I was in the Costco parking lot and people were driving so slowly. I was going out of my mind that when I finally got out of the parking lot, I screeched my tires and sped off. And there was a cop waiting right there. I guess maybe that happens a lot. And I got a ticket for my behavior. My behavior was in reaction. I was in reaction. I leaked all this energy of mine. I gave it away because I wanted a certain outcome and I wasn't getting it. And all these people were doing this to me by driving too slow. And now sometimes when somebody gets behind me and they're going too fast, I will get out of the way so they can go forward. And I wish them well. And I hope that they get to wherever they need to get. And I often think like it's too bad that they left too late and they didn't schedule their time wisely enough to get to where they're needing to go. And now they're raging all over the freeway. I don't even know if that's true, but sometimes I think that they scheduled incorrectly. I've done that. You've done that. We think we have enough time and then we don't, and then we're rushing, and then we're the ones driving right behind other people and pushing them to get out of the way. It's not nice, all because we have a certain outcome that we want. I think you're getting the idea here. So when we get off the freeway, even when we're not dealing with people that we don't know, and we could talk about that this whole episode, people that we don't know are doing things all day. They're being loud as they drive down the street. They're parking in front of your driveway. They're fill in the blank of what everybody else is doing that is causing you to take it personally and get ragey and retaliate in some way. But what about when we think it's personal because it is somebody that we know? Specifically, what about when it's somebody you're in relationship with? The reason I'm bringing this up today is because I found out something about someone that I was potentially dating that I didn't know about them. And it turns out that they were doing a certain behavior to several people at the same time. I'm just going to leave it at that because it really doesn't matter what the story is. What matters is how I interpret it. And I have to say that in my past, when I would be dating someone and they would do a behavior, fill in the blank, they would ghost me, they would cheat on me, they would whatever, I would definitely take it personally. And I would definitely retaliate. And I would tell all my friends about what they did to me. And what I recognized happening in my life today isn't that I'm perfect at this. I'm not perfect at it. But several of us found out some things about one person in particular, that he was doing some things and not being above board about it. And I didn't really take it personally. And I just noticed that I had more energy to put toward the direction of my life, my dreams, my business, my loving myself no matter fucking what, and also having compassion toward the person that was doing that specific behavior. Because just like on the freeway, I don't actually have all the information about why that person does this behavior. Usually, when people are acting out, it's because of some unprocessed trauma of their own. And I don't have to take that personally. I happen to be one of the people that it could be affecting. So what? I don't need to put my life on hold because somebody else was doing a behavior that isn't really my preference around how people behave that I'm in relation with. It doesn't matter. I can say, oh, I see now. I learned of something I didn't know before. It's my preference to not be engaging with people who have unprocessed trauma that oozes out all over other people in this specific way. I'm removing myself. I'm not making it mean anything about me. I also don't need to yell or emasculate a man that doesn't do anything, doesn't change the situation. How can I process what happened with the other people that it happened to or for, however you want to look at that, and get the treasure that's inside of it for myself? Take responsibility for my part, whatever that is, and be grateful for the lesson in it and move on. Make a podcast episode. Help somebody else who might be struggling with taking stuff personally. It is a big deal to get your power back from the habit of taking shit personally. People, places, things happen. What if nobody's doing it intentionally to you? You just happen to be there. I've had so many things happen in my life that I could still be talking about how so and so did that thing when I was 13 years old when I said I did not want that thing to happen. No, it happened. I'm in the present right now. It's currently April of 2024. I'm not 13. I can process the thing that happened, feel the feelings I have about that thing happening, but I don't have to make it be a defining factor of who I am. It's not who I am. It's a situation that happened. It's a thing that happened. I didn't like it, but it's not happening today. Shit happens all the time. What if it's not good, bad, right, or wrong? It just is a thing happening. What if it could be that simple? Now, I recognize that there could be a thought going through your mind about bypassing, that I'm somehow suggesting bypassing the feelings, bypassing or giving that person a pass out of jail, so to speak. I'm not saying that at all. When I have them and acknowledge them and let them move through me, it's pretty quick. I can then move on to the next thing. Feelings are pretty delicious things to acknowledge and have. If I'm having them and suppressing the feelings, it's going to ooze out somewhere else, right? I'm going to act that out too. I'm going to be the one road raging towards somebody else. So here are some tips that you can use moving forward. If you find yourself either on the freeway or in relation with somebody and they do a thing and you notice yourself become dysregulated in your body, you feel rage coming on, and you want to feel the feelings, but you also want to be masterful with how you're using your attention and your time so that you can move toward the things that you want to be moving toward and not wasting you could waste a whole lifetime being angry at other people, places, and things and situations that happened a certain way that you think shouldn't have happened in that way. So the first thing is awareness of where our attention is and that we're giving our attention away to other people, places, and things when they're just being themselves. When I can bring my attention back to myself and breathe and get rooted in the present moment right here, and I notice that I'm actually in the past ruminating about what happened yesterday or years ago, just noticing that is powerful and empowering. Then I can choose where I put my attention. I can do EFT tapping. I can tap on my collarbone point. If you're watching me on video, you can see it. If you're listening, I'm just literally tapping with my fingertips on my collarbone point. And it sends a message. It's acupressure. And I'm sending a message to my nervous system. And I can say, even though people are being themselves and I don't really like how it feels when they do that behavior, I don't have to leave myself right now. I can stay with myself. I can love myself no matter fucking what. Even though this situation is happening in my life and it's causing me to feel dysregulated in my nervous system. Say it however you want. I'm learning to respect all parts of me, all of my feelings, and I'm not going to leave myself right now. I'm going to stay with myself, bring my attention back to myself, and honor all parts of me right now. There's all sorts of things you can say to yourself that will send a message to your nervous system to calm that part of you that doesn't feel safe right now, that doesn't feel seen, heard, understood, that feels taken advantage of or used or whatever it is. And you can also take that situation and use it to your advantage and ask yourself, what is the treasure here for me? What can I learn from their behavior and how it affected me? Or why is this in my life right now? What can I glean from this? Can I make art from this? There you go. How can I use this to my advantage in the direction of my purpose? How can I really take responsibility for my part in this situation? Did I not have a good boundary? Did I not listen to red flags or see them? Did I project onto a person and think that they were something they weren't? Did I make assumptions about who I thought they were? Yeah. Yeah. I think we all do that. We make assumptions about who we think other people are. And live in a little bit of fantasy land about who they are, what they're doing, how they will behave in certain situations, and not be clear about who we are, what our boundaries are, what our expectations are, and see if it matches. Does this match? Are we in alignment here? Are they able to communicate on a level that I'm able to communicate, or are they at a different level? Not good, bad, right, or wrong, not better than, less than, but just a different place in their lives. They don't have the tools. They don't want to use the tools. They can't find the tools because they're living inside of unprocessed trauma that keeps them from being able to communicate clearly who they are, what they're available for, what they're not available for, etc. I hope this has been helpful. And for one other tool, I'm going to put this other one out there. I mentioned this a lot. Pick up your camera and start gathering evidence of what's going right in your life to get you back into the now. Use your camera to focus on the now. How can you look for clues of the treasures that are happening all the time? There's shit happening all the time, and there's also magnificent, luscious, yummy, delicious things happening all the time. Where is our attention right now? Can we make another decision about where we put our attention, what we're focusing on, what we're getting hooked by, what we're making everything mean? I love this. I love that we get to see what we're doing, see how our reactions to life cause us to suffer more than anyone else that we're reacting out at. How is it affecting us? And what can we do in the moment to listen a little bit more closely to what's underneath that reaction and then soothe that part of us that's having those feelings so that we can move on? I encourage you to take one of those tools that helps you take your power back, not in a ragey way, in a like, wait a minute, that's not where I want to put my attention. I want to bring it back to myself, be compassionate, have boundaries, strong ass boundaries, and not make it mean anything about who I think I am. And ask yourself the question, where am I getting my worth from? Where do I think my worth comes from? If we think it's coming from how other people behave, we're going to be pretty upset all the time. If we think we have to prove our worth over and over and over, which I have been guilty of, and I don't know, guilty is not the right word. I think a better word to use is that I didn't know my worth. And so I was seeking it from other people outside of myself to keep telling me over and over, but what about now? Am I still worthy now? What about now? I just said that one thing. Do you still think I'm worthy? It doesn't actually matter what they think if I don't feel my own worthiness just for being alive. That's the work right there. Am I worthy of taking up space? Yes. Do I know that all the way into the soul of my being? When we're flinging around all of this anger towards other people for how they're behaving, ask the question, how am I actually treating myself today? What am I saying to myself all day long about myself? And you might find that you are not being nice to yourself. And then we're retaliating against all these other people and their stuff that they're flinging around in our direction, when really we can do the work right here. Look at them doing that thing that they do. I'm going to step away, create boundaries, and look at where I'm doing that to myself and choose again and again to love myself no matter fucking what. I think that's it for today. I hope that this episode brought you something that you can use as you move through the world. And I want to invite you to a free 3-day masterclass called Bedtime Stories. Bedtime Stories. It's about internalized ageism, sensuality, and sexuality, and how to use the camera as a tool to transform these beliefs and stories that we tell ourselves into something else that's more empowering. It's a way to write a love letter to yourself visually through the use of photography. So you'll be given prompts every day for the 3 days and creating a new story of yourself. I can say more about that, but there's a link below. I'd love for you to join us. And I also have an opportunity for you to join a 6-week or 12-week, depending on what you want to do, coaching program online called The Sacred Medicine of Self-Portraiture. And so we're taking what happens in that 3-day free class and we're going wild for a lot longer, a lot deeper. And I bring in subconscious reprogramming techniques, the Toltec Practices, more prompts to use to make your work and to really know your worth and create a story that works for you. So there's more on the links below. I would love to have you join us. There's more too I could tell you about that's coming up, but that's it for now. I'm sending you all so much love. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Into the Deep with Catherine Just. You can check out all other episodes and help support the podcast over on catherinejust.com/podcast. Be sure to subscribe, rate, comment, and review over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to this podcast. You can share this episode on social media. I look forward to having my voice in your ears next time. Take care.